Are you considering USA or Canada for your further studies? Then this video is for you. Last year I advised my nephew to go to Canada instead of USA for his higher studies for many reasons. In this video I am going to discuss those reasons, and I'm not saying that everyone should go to Canada instead of USA for their studies, but I want you guys to make informed decision. A little bit about me. My name is Anuj and I came to USA for my masters back in 2009 on student visa, and now I'm on work visa. So I have been living in the United States for past 14 years and I have been to Canada many times. I was the first person from my family to go abroad for higher studies, and when I came to United States back in 2009, my nephew was just 5 years old, and I don't know where time went by, but he's all grown up now and came to Canada for his diploma in computer science last year. So why did I advise him to go to Canada when I am living in the United States? Did I wanted to keep him away from me? Wouldn't it be easier for him if he just came to United States? Well, not really, for many reasons. I'll divide these reasons in three stages. Three stages which many international students go through, which is student visa, work visa, and permanent residency. Now I know that all the students who go abroad for their studies doesn't want to work or settle in that country, but it would be nice to have that option after spending like so much time, money, and energy, if you want to stay in that country a little longer than just for your studies. Okay, let's talk about student visa. The first reason is easier to get. Now if you are interested in study abroad, you already know this, that the visa rejection rate for USA is much higher than visa rejection rate for Canada. Canada has set certain criteria for student visa, and as long as you meet those criteria, the rejection rate is very low. Meanwhile, I know many students who has been rejected for USA student visa even after meeting all the requirements with a reasoned potential immigrant, which means that visa officer wasn't convinced that you will return to your home country after finishing your studies. Second is affordability and flexibility. Now tuition fees are expensive both in USA and Canada, but here is how it gets much more affordable in Canada compared to USA. Right now in Canada, international students, and if they are married, even their spouse can work legally full-time without any restrictions. Meanwhile, in USA, international students can work only 20 hours per week and only on campus. As you already know, here in USA and Canada, there are like some jobs which are available on campus, like sometimes you can work in the library, sometimes there is a cafeteria at the university where you can work. So in USA, international students are only allowed to work on campus. And as you can imagine, on-campus jobs are very few and very competitive to get. And guess how many hours international student spouse can work in the United States? 0. Yes, international student spouse cannot work legally in the United States. That's just one reason which makes Canada much more affordable compared to USA, but there are many more. I have never met international students who came to USA for 2-year diploma after their high school. Option is there, but it's hard to get USA student visa for a diploma. And by chance, even if you do get visa, the work permit you get after finishing your diploma in USA is just 1 year. And of course, if you are married, your spouse cannot work while you are on the student visa work permit. Versus I know many people who came to Canada for diploma. My nephew came for 2-year diploma as I advised. Why diploma? Because if you come for 4-year degree, then you need fees for 4 years straight, which could be a lot for someone like us who is coming from middle class family in India. And in Canada, you get 3-year work permit even after finishing 2-year diploma. And if you are married, your spouse can also work full-time legally while you are on this work permit. So I advise my nephew to go for a diploma first. Then maybe work a year or two in your field, which will get you some experience and you will be able to save money before going for your degree. Or you can finish your bachelor degree part-time while you work full-time on this work permit in your field. So you will have significant experience in your field by the time you finish your bachelor's degree, and you won't have to stress out about fees. Also, Canada has many options right now to become permanent residents when you at least have like a 2-year diploma from Canadian Institute and 1-year Canadian work experience. So if you become a permanent resident before going for your bachelor degree, then you pay fees for domestic students, which is like less than half of what international student has to pay. So you will save significant amount of money on your fees. But still, let's just say that you just wanted to come straight for your bachelor's degree or master's degree. All those things still apply if you go to Canada. You and your spouse both can legally work full time while you are a student, and once you finish your studies, you both get 3-year work permit. Meanwhile, in USA, you only get 1-year work permit even after finishing your bachelor's or master's degree, unless you majored in STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. If your major was STEM, then you get 3-year work permit. And actually, majority of student visa USA issues are for STEM majors, which makes sense because there are many Americans who wants to study law, art, social work, but there are less Americans who wants to major in STEM than there is demand in American economy. So if they issue more student visa for STEM majors, they know that many of the students will work in these fields after finishing their studies, which will help to fill the labor gap in US economy. Versus in Canada, there is not just labor shortage in STEM field, but in all the fields. So if you want to go study, let's just say social work, then there are more chances that you will get Canadian student visa than American student visa. So Canada gives you much more flexibility in what you want to study. Another reason is that advantage when it comes to permanent residency. So let's just say that if you have studied in Canada, then when you apply for your permanent residency, they give you some additional points because you studied in Canada. Versus in USA, when it comes to permanent residency, there is no advantage if you have already studied in USA, which means that a bachelor degree from USA doesn't have any edge over a bachelor degree from abroad when it comes to permanent residency. So that was your student visa phase. Next, I'm going to talk about work visa and permanent residency, which go hand in hand. Now, don't confuse work visa with work permit. When you are on work permit, you are still on student visa. It's just the work permit you get after finishing your studies, which in USA they call it OPT, optional practical training, and in Canada they call it PGWP, postgraduate work permit. But what is after you complete this work permit? Most probably, since there are many paths to permanent residency in Canada, you won't need work visa beyond your 3-year work permit. But let's just say in the worst case scenario, you do need work visa. Then there is no limit on how many work visas Canada can issue each year. They can issue as many work visas as there is a demand, so it's much easier to get work visa in Canada. And again, if you are on work visa in Canada, your spouse can also work legally full time. Versus in USA, there are only 85,000 work visas each year, which are called H1B. This year, for this 85,000 work visas, they received 700,000 applications. And whenever they have more than 85,000 applications for this work visa, they just do a random lottery to select who gets work visa. So it is very hard to get work visa in USA even if you are like well qualified and already have a job. In fact, it's easier to get TN work visa than H1B work visa because there is no numerical limit on TN work visa. But TN work visa is only for Mexican and Canadian citizens. So I know many international students who came to Canada, they get job in USA after they become Canadian citizens. Also in USA, if you are on H1B work visa, then your spouse cannot work legally unless your immigration petition is approved, which is filed by your employer. Again, which is filed by your employer. Now you might ask, Anuj, if your immigration petition is approved, don't you get permanent residency? Well, that's the weird thing about America. In Canada, permanent residency is pretty straightforward point-based system which is called express entry. So as long as you meet minimum express entry criteria, you can create a profile for yourself. Very simple. Based on your profile, they will assign you a score. Canada doesn't discriminate on what country you are from. Once your score meets the cutoff, you will receive an invitation to apply for permanent residency. And once your permanent residency application is approved, you actually get permanent residency. Let me say it again. Once your permanent residency is approved, you actually get permanent residency. In USA, first of all, for most of the employment-based categories, you cannot apply yourself for permanent residency. Your employer has to sponsor you, so they have to apply for your permanent residency. But here is the most important reason why I advise my nephew to go to Canada instead of USA, because USA, even on the skill-based permanent residency, they discriminate on what country you are from. So USA has a fixed quota of 140,000 green cards for employment-based category. But what is insane is that no more than 7% of that can go to one particular country each year, which means that no more than 9800 green cards can go to one particular country each year. So if you are born in country like India, even when your immigration petition gets approved, you don't actually get permanent residency until a visa number becomes available to you. So people who are born in India whose immigration petition got approved in 2009, they are receiving their green cards now. They had to wait 14 years after their immigration petition got approved to actually get their permanent residency. And this problem is compounding every year. So don't think that in USA you get your permanent residency after waiting for 14 years. It is estimated that if you are born in India and if your immigration petition gets approved today, then you will receive your green card in 150 years. In other words, if these country caps are not removed and if you are from India, you will never receive your green cards in EB2 and EB3 categories. And you will have to continue renewing your work visa, which means that you will never have a sense of security, stability and freedom. It would be so painful to see people who are less qualified than you, people who are less experienced than you, people who came to country much after you did become permanent residents faster just based on what country they are born in. And those kind of things sometimes will make you question that is it wrong to be born in India. And I never wanted my nephew to have that feeling because India is great. Remember that Christopher Columbus was looking for India when he discovered America. I know India is not as developed as some other Western countries because we have been plundered by many different empires. But what they haven't robbed from us is our hardworking nature and our family values. So I'm proud to be Indian, and it's my privilege that I was born in a country with such a rich heritage and culture, and I always will be. Like many of my friends, we came abroad to get international exposures and to give better opportunities to our families. I usually go to India for a month every year and spend the rest of the 11 months looking forward to that time. So that's all the information I wish I had when I was deciding which country to go to for my masters. If you need more information or clarification on any of the things I talked about in this video, please leave it in the comments. Also, I must say that this video is for information purposes only. I am not an immigration attorney and this is not an immigration advice, and you should do your own due diligence for your particular case. If you know any Indians who is living in the United States and stuck in green card backlog, please share this channel with them, ask them to subscribe so they can join the movement to end the discrimination against Indians in the name of country cap. Alright, thanks for watching and good luck with your visa application.